What's up? What's up? It's your boy Corey B. So I've talked to y'all a lot about just the idea of expanding your business, expanding your revenue, and just being able to generate more income because that's what you need. Whatever you're doing in your life, whether you're working for somebody or you're working for yourself, or you need more cash flow if you want to ever get bigger and get to that point where you've got financial freedom, you've got stability, and you can really have more opportunities to broaden your horizons and look into new things. So, with that being said, an easy thing that, I mean, for you know, going on 2 decades now, something that's been just bread and butter for me is reselling. It's something that I'm good at. It's something that I understand. Real and simple. I mean, real simple. Reselling's a hustle. That's what it is. It's a hustle. Okay, so you're looking for something that you can get at a price that ultimately you can see a greater value in. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. And most people that I've known that are successful and thrive in the world of reselling, they got into it by fluke. Even I mean, look, take something like Poshmark. Poshmark is something that's it's a company and a business that runs off of their whole concept is, you have a closet full of clothes, and I'm sure you need to get rid of some of them so that way you can get out the old and move in the new. I mean, that is the premise of their business. And that's how they market it. That's how they talk about it, and it's a true thing. I mean, my uncle, he was really good at reselling, and he was someone who actually got me started on it. And way back in the day, in the late '90s, he actually started on it just by when me and my brother hung out with him. He hadn't played video games since he was a teenager, and me and my brother were like, "Hey, we wanted to hang out with our uncle. We wanted him to get play video games with us." And so we got him to try some of our video games. And as he was trying our video games, he was curious about some of the other video games that are on the market. So as he was coming home from work from his regular 9 to 5 job, he would stop off at pawn shops and things like that and buy some secondhand video games to come home and test out with us. And then as he would test things out, I mean, he'd be like, okay, well, I like this or I don't like that. And he would sell whatever he didn't like. And then it got to the point that he realized he could make a little bit of money off of that. So he started doing that. He started going around town. He was in Corpus at the time, and he was going around town and literally buying up all the video games that he could find. All the mostly he started with Sega, and then it just went from there. But he was just buying up all the video games that he could find at any pawn shop. He'd walk in there and be like, "Well, what do y'all got?" And he's like, "Okay, well, this is what you got. This is what I'll offer you for everything you have." And then he would walk away and say, "Okay, now how can I cash in on this?" And he would just pick and choose the few things that he wanted to keep. He's like, "Okay, I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to cash in on the rest." And he's like, "Okay, well now." In the beginning, he was like, "Well, can I just break even?" And then he realized he could turn a profit. And then he was like, "Well, I'm getting the things that I want, and I'm turning a profit. It's like I'm getting paid to play video games." That's how he looked at it at first. And then he was a real fitness nut, and he decided, well, maybe he could upgrade his home exercise equipment, because at the time he had some dumbbells and things like that and a treadmill, and he was like, well, I really want more than this. So he slowly started, searching around town and finding what he could find, and he just upgraded his gym, or at the time it was just his fitness equipment. And as he upgraded his fitness equipment, he sold his treadmill, he sold his dumbbells, and then he realized later, a year or so later, he was like, you know what, I could trade that stuff in. And so he continued doing that and that and that until he got to the point that he literally had a full gym at his house. It was pretty incredible. But he had a full gym at his house, and that full gym was basically free. Like, I mean, on some level. I mean, it wasn't, but it was, because he was selling the stuff that he was trading in for more than he was buying the new stuff for. It was really great how he had figured out how to do it. And so he kept telling me, he's like, "Corey, you really can, you could really get in on this. You can really do this. I think it's something you could do." And I was like, at first I was a little skeptical. I was like, I don't know if this is for me. And the more he talked about it, the more he was just like, come on, just give it a shot. I was like, okay, well, I gave it a shot. And so I started buying, I started off buying video games and did just like he did. And then I did video games and I did fitness gear. And now, you know, now 19 years later, 18 years later, I am literally, I'll sell anything. I remember one time me and my uncle were talking and we were just having, just talking about some of the things that we had noticed that were going on with some new policies that had changed on eBay and some of the things that different people were talking about. The different things that he had noticed people were selling. And I remember him saying a statement to me, and at first I thought it was silly, but you know what? It was the realest thing ever. And he told me, he was like, Corey, plain and simple, I'll sell paper towels if the price is right. And it's like, you know what? When it comes down to it, it's like, what are you not willing to sell if you can turn a profit? That is the true mind of a hustler. And that is where me and him, continued. I mean, we did things differently. He had his methods, I had my methods. Every now and then we'd consult each other and be like, hey, I was thinking about doing this, I was thinking about doing that. What do you think about that? It's never a bad idea to have somebody that you feel you can confide in, that you feel you could talk to, and you feel like, okay, well, I can relate to you on this level, and we can rap about business even though we're different-minded people. And over the years, I've got some more people that, I consult with. You've always got to have, colleagues and people that you can confide in. But ultimately, that's the true mind of a hustler, is being able to see a product, know that you can get it for this price, and know that you can flip it for more. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. I had a homeboy that was, he literally was flipping houses to put himself through college. He was putting himself through, him and his wife, he was putting both of them through college while he was flipping houses. And what he would do is he was a incredibly handy guy, and he was just on levels of brilliant. I mean, he was just incredibly smart. And he was one of those guys that there wasn't much he couldn't figure out, and he was willing to put in the effort to learn it. So he would buy a house, right? He'd buy a house, move in, list it as his homestead, so that way it would, cut tax breaks down. And then as he would list it as his homestead, he would continue to remodel this house that ultimately needed some serious love. He would remodel the house. He would remodel the bedrooms, the flooring, repaint, do siding, plumbing, anything and everything that it needed. I mean, there wasn't a line that he wouldn't do. I mean, he had learned through time that there was certain things that, okay, well, you need to get someone licensed to do this or that. But anything he didn't absolutely have to do, he would find a way to figure it out. And he met with, permit offices and things like that to learn the guidelines and what parameters were within what he was allowed to do without being in breach of licenses and things like that. And so he would do that. And he said it would take him, 8 months, a year, depending on the level of love that, so to speak, that the house needed. It would take him time. Okay, so after he would get all that done, then he would turn around, put the house on the market. He would continue living in the house until it sold. He would sell the house and turn around and buy a new house. And he would walk away, $80,000, $100,000. I think the smallest one, he made a $60,000 profit. But you're thinking about, he made a $60,000 profit, a $100,000 profit, and that was in, 8 months, a year. $60,000 in a year is a lot for a lot of people, especially when you're talking about that was his profit. That's a good payday. And so that would carry him to the next house. So he just continued to float like this, and he did this his whole way through college. While he was working on getting his degree, this is how he was making a living. Lots of people are living off of financial aid and internships and flipping burgers and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking flipping burgers. I worked at Burger King, I worked at Taco Bell. I've done my share of working in fast food, and ain't nothing. It ain't nothing to sneeze at. I'm not mad at nobody for doing that. But I'm saying, when that's the only job you can get, a man over here talking about, well, I'm flipping a house while I'm putting my way through college instead of working in a restaurant, he's living in the house and he's doing it when he has time here and there. I put myself through college. I mean, I did have to take out some student loans and stuff like that. I'm not absent of taking out student loans. I did take out some student loans, but I tried to keep it to a minimum, even though, I went to University of Texas, and that mess is expensive. So I needed more than just, I took out some student loans, but in addition to taking out student loans, I was, putting food on the table and taking care of myself by, doing reselling. And I've been doing reselling ever since. I mean, I really have. So like I said, it's not something that a lot of people just, make a choice. Oh, this is what I want to get into. This is what I want to do. A lot of people got into it by fluke. It's just this happenstance. It's like, I was thinking I could just, make a little bit of money. I could, I was buying this and I was going to think I could sell this and just, kind of break even or, whatever. But it's a lucrative business. It really, really, truly is. And so many people just don't realize that it really can be a business. It can be, it's what the whole idea of retail is. You're buying something from a wholesaler at this price and you're selling it for this price. In retail, it's like, I'm buying things for this price and selling it for this price. Either way, we're taking a product and marking it up. That's what we're doing. And it's all in the name of what the value is to someone else. It's like if they could have bought it for this price, they would have, but they didn't find it. So therefore, they're willing to pay this price for it. And that's just the reality of it. That and in itself, like I said, is the mind of a hustler. And if you want to really, develop and grow and get some more income coming in, really easy. Flipping is a way to do that, but you just got to be careful. There's a strategic way to get involved in it. Otherwise, you're going to start putting a lot of money into it without seeing the money come back. And that's where you don't want to be. I've learned a lot over the years. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot, and I've learned what you can and can't do. I just want to touch on that tonight and give you kind of a broad idea. Right now, is that something you can do is start reselling. For more details, I'm going to get into that on maybe a later video, and we'll talk about more of that, about, exactly the do's and don'ts and what you should do and shouldn't do. But for tonight, I want to kind of keep it I want you to marinate on that idea, just the idea of being able to be a reseller and look at it as actually a true business venture and something that can get you to something bigger. It can ultimately be where you want to be in life, but it doesn't have to be. It could just be what gets you to the next level. It's getting me to the next level. I've been doing it for a long time, and it's gotten me to the next level. I'm doing so much more now, and it's just one of the many things that I just haven't let go of because it's just so easy, and I've just been doing it for so long. I'm just so good at it. And that's not me being, arrogant or anything like that. It's just I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. I've failed my good share of times, but I have learned from each one of those failures. And so I want y'all to go ahead and hit me below with any of your questions, any of your comments. Private message me if you want. If you got something, it's like, oh, well, how do I get into this? How do I get into that? I have sold on nearly every avenue you can think of, and I'd love to talk more. So y'all get back to me. I'm your boy Corey B, and I'm gonna help you out. I want to help you grow. This is what I do, and we're looking towards the future. So let's get cocky. Y'all give your boy a like, hit that subscribe button, and ding your bell and get your notifications. You don't want to miss it out. And be sure to subscribe at beingcoreybayless.com. Until next time, later.